Hey there guys, and welcome back. You guys seem to really like my last tutorial videos, so pretty happy about that. So I decided to make another one. I have a few ideas for tutorial videos, but if you guys, there's something specific that you guys want to know, just let me know and I'll try to do a video on it. But this one is going to be basic deck building. I'm not going to label it something like how to make a meta deck, because there's no formula that's just going to guarantee you that you automatically know how to make a majorly good meta deck. But we'll get into some basic deck building and how to make a deck that you can play and thin out, and just like making a meta deck is basically using basic deck building and playing it over and over again and figuring out which pieces work. So we'll get right into this one though. First you gotta like think of what you want to do. Like for this one I'll probably just go with hand boosting because that was my day one deck and it came out really good, and I'll show you guys how I made that one. But like say you wanted to do the hand boosting archetype, which is Scullytail, of course. So then, yeah, you look at your leaders. Well, which one would be best for the hand boosting type? Of course, Francesca, because she boosts whatever you grab in your hand by 3, lets you mulligan anything. So, Francesca, really good. So you pick your leader then. Let's get into that. There we go. Then I usually sort them by bronze cards, and it'll be really nice when you can add more than 6 or more than 4 golds into the actual deck builder, because the way that I do this kind of sucks not being able to throw as many golds as I want in there. But yeah, then you look through and first you take up everything that would fit in that archetype, like see where some hand boosting stuff, everything that has to do with hand boosting. So you take the Double-Thon of Sword Masters, and it doesn't matter if you go over 15 at this point, because you're just trying to see like everything that's available to you in one area instead of looking through all the cards. It makes it a lot easier. So then, let's see what else we got for hand boosting. We got these guys. We got the Hawker supports. We'll throw them in. Then the Vrahid Dragoons. Yeah, they boost things in your hand. And, okay, well, we got all the hand boosting bronze stuff. So, then you start looking through the cards and decide, well, what could go good with that? Like, I'm going to be boosting something in my hand every turn, so I know Farseers. I mean, if something in my hand is boosted every turn, then the Farseer is going to get boosted, so that'd probably be a good card to add. So throw all 3 of them in. At this point, it doesn't matter if you go over 15, because you're going to be filtering stuff out after. And then, you look through what else you got. Well, Dwarven Mercenaries, they're alright. Hawker, Smuggler. You could think, I'll just throw them in for example. You could think that that's a good card, because I mean, hey, anytime your opponent plays a card, that card gets boosted. That sounds pretty good. The dwarves don't really fit, and as you can see, as you got this thing going out, you know, oh, well, I play a lot of elves, so probably some more elf cards would be good, and dwarfs wouldn't be too great, since I don't have much room for dwarfs. So yeah, Vrahid Vanguard, why not? Then Vrahid Officer, to go with the mulliganing theme. And maybe these guys would be good. Who knows? So we throw them all in. We get all those cards in. And then we look through the bronze spells. There's nothing really for bronze spells except for Gwent Sign. Gwent Sign definitely good, because you're running a hand boosting deck. Alright, then you got like 28 bronze cards in your deck. And that's not going to work, obviously. So you start filtering out what's most important to you in these bronze cards for the theme that you're going for. Well, we don't really need these Vrahid Vanguards, because I mean, we do have a lot of elves, yes, but we don't run that much mulliganing, so these guys could most probably come out. And then you got like Blue Mountain Commandos. This is still a high tempo card, so I wouldn't necessarily know if this is good or bad yet. But Elven War Dancer for the same thing. You don't need the mulliganing cards. Then Hawker Support, it's usually alright to only run one of them. Now you're starting to thin your deck down. And now you get to the harder point where it's like, oh, I still have 5 cards in my deck. I still need to get rid of 5 of these bronze cards. So what the heck would I want to get rid of? And then you decide on that. And then after you got that down, which I'll just go with what I did with my normal mulligan deck. I didn't run any Farseers or these Blue Mountain Commandos. I ended up taking them out. And I went with only 2 Vrahid Officers. So there, we got our bronzes. Then you go to silvers and you start doing the same thing. You start thinking, well, what's going to fit in that archetype? And also, since you have your base now, this is where it makes it a bit easier, because you can start thinking of tech cards too. Like, Well, we know we run a lot of hand boosting, and we run Farseers, so I mean, we're going to end up with a lot of high units on the field. So Scorch, this tech card of Scorch, or Becker's Twisted Mirror, those two cards aren't going to work well in this deck at all. So we won't want to run that as a tech card. Summoning Circle, we don't really have the operator or a way to guarantee that we'd Summoning Circle something really good, so that probably wouldn't be the best. And yeah, so we just look for what's good. Vittori, he gets boosted, he goes up. That seems like it fits in the deck pretty well. This is why I would like to be able to do it with silvers too, because if I could throw in all the silvers, it'd be a lot easier to like thin out what you don't want. And yeah, we have a lot of elves, so Erlen would fit in pretty well, and it looks like we got like a slow round 1 going on, so we probably want some tempo stuff to try to fix that. So we look around for what else could be good for tempo. I mean, I usually always just throw in Yavin in my lock unit because I might end up running them, because these two cards are pretty meta in like every faction. It's your lock unit, you usually always want to run at least one lock unit of your faction's type, and then usually your disloyal unit, so that's 2 silver slots. They're usually always automatically taken up, and then you decide later, which we'll get into that in a second, if you want to take them out or not for something else. So then, well, Brain, not too great. I mean, it looks like a good card, but in a hand boosting type of deck, but it's basically a swordsman, so it's not that good. But what else could we use for tempo? Roach. Roach would give us some tempo round 1. So yeah, throw Roach in. Barclay would be great, but we don't have any dwarves, so we definitely don't want to run him. And Commander's Horde, we don't have lined up units that much. Or you could throw in Commander's Horde. But what I ended up going with was Torval, because I ended up using my gold slot. But let's just say, yeah, where's Commander's Horde? There, we'll throw in Commander's Horde. Then we go to gold units. Yeah, you do the same thing with gold units. And you decide, well, you already want Ithelin because you run the Gwent sign, double Gwent signing, the Dalblithana Swordsman, and that'll give your Dragoon some protection too. Then you think, okay, well, what other really good tech cards are really good in this deck? Well, Geralt. Geralt is not that great because you do mess with the opponent's side of the field with Dalblithana Swordsmasters. These are you already know these things are going to get boosted, and this is one of the main points of your deck. So Geralt would not be good in that situation. And this can go to any type of deck that you're building, because if your deck runs a lot of like hate on the opponent's side that's going to hurt their units or the higher units and stuff, you probably don't want to run Geralt, because you're not going to be able to pull off the nice Geralt if you're killing all their higher units. Same thing with Scorch. You don't want to run Scorch if you're doing that. And then, I mean, some of the golds are obvious. Like, you don't want to run Wolfsbane because, yeah, you don't have a way to discard that with this deck, so. Then, yeah, Ivarith, he boosts everything in the hand, so yeah, I end up picking him. It's just basically picking what fits in the theme. And Sasuke could be good. I don't even remember if I ended up running or not. No, I didn't, but Zoltan could fit very well. And Eskel, why not? Then you go into casuals or something and you play out the deck and you see, oh, what's wrong? Or well, first before you do that, you look over the deck again and you double check to see if there's anything better. You go back through your bronzes and you see, well, I usually go through each bronze and I think, well, Tremors, no, not that good. I don't have any 1 power units. Elzur's Thunder, crap card. And it gets pretty good to filter, I mean, pretty easy to filter through, like, what's going to be good or not. And then you say, oh, First Light. Well, I don't have any Weather Clear yet, so First Light could be maybe good. And was there anything that is worth taking out for that First Light? And so, yeah, basically you go through your whole deck, do that again. Think of if there's anything better that you could run. Like, here I would be like, oh, Commander's Horn. Yeah, instead of Commander's Horn and Eskel, I could run Torval. Whoops, I just messed it all up. Yeah, I could run, yeah, see, that's what happens when you try to add in an extra silver. Really hope they fix that. Could run Torval and Isengrim, and that'd still give me a lot of tempo and give me the ability to trick my opponent by pulling out my Erlen. And then basically you go through, you do that a couple times, and you decide, then you usually end up with a base deck that's alright. Then after that, all you do to make your deck better is you take it into casuals, you play a couple games, and it usually helps if you write it down. You write down what situations what helped you, and in what situations what was bad, because a lot of what makes the deck good is what other people are playing at that time. Because if they're running a lot of movement cards, things that count on not being moved obviously won't be good. But if nobody's running movement cards, then things that don't count on, that shouldn't. Then if nobody's using movement cards, then things that rely on not being moved could be good. So you have to basically get a feel for what the meta is, and then build your deck around the meta. And then you can start teching in more tech cards, like, oh, people are running a lot of high-powered units that line up and are all boosted, so DM Bomb might be a good thing, and decide what you would hurt you the least to take out and run that instead. So that's basically just some tips on how to build a deck. I mean, that's basically all there is. I probably told you some stuff you already know, but yeah, that's how I build a deck and how a lot of people build a deck. And it's just trial and error for making it really, really good. Is you don't expect your first version of the deck to be amazing, and just play it, find out what's wrong with it, take out stuff, try new things, and then write down everything that happens. Like, if you know, okay, this card was really good this round, or if you take something out, then write down, like, oh, if you lost and in what situation that card would have helped you, if that card helped you more, or the card that you took it out for. So that's just some basic deck building tips if you guys want to try to get into deck building and trying out your own decks and stuff. But it does get kind of daunting, because you have to play a lot of games with a crappy deck to make a good deck, because you have to filter out the things that are wrong with it. Like when I first made my Francesca hand buff, I was constantly changing things. I started with like the silver Mahakam Ale card because I didn't know if it was crap yet or not, and I was testing around with that. Ended up having to take that out, and I ran other things, and then I ended up putting in things like Iris and stuff, and I found out, yeah, Iris actually works really well in this deck, and it was helping me out a lot more than what I took out for it. So you basically just keep playing it, keep tweaking it, and writing down if what you took out was better or not. So I hope this guide sort of helped you guys on how to build a deck and how to tweak it and make it a little bit better. But that's basically it. And I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, have a good one.